listening to the What the Wrestling Podcast, the show that brings you all things wrestling with your host, RJD.
Oh, you already know what time it is. May I say, we had ourselves probably the best NXT 2.0 show, period. And I mean period. And you know what? I ain't mad at it. Shout out to them. They definitely, they did their thing last night. I can't even lie. And we're not going to sit here and cap. Oh, no, we are not. Shout out to these guys. They really showed up and showed out. Besides the comedy bullshit, not good.
You stupid.
This show was actually very, very good. And we are going to get into it right now. But first, showing my socials. Y'all already know. Follow me, RJD, at RJD10K on Instagram, RJ699 on Twitter, and RJD199 on Snapchat. Most importantly, follow What's the Wrestling on Facebook and YouTube and TikTok. Also follow What the Wrestling on Anchor and Spodify. Without further ado, let's rock out on this NXT review. Let's go! Yes. Tis I, RJD here. Welcome to What the Wrestling. This is your What the Wrestling. St. Valentine's. No, they ain't even call it Valentine's Day Vengeance Day. Let's just call it NXT 2.0 Vengeance Day review. Yes, I still have that cough, so I need my tea. But yes, I am your host, RJD. We are going to sit here and conversate about NXT 2.0. But first and foremost, let's talk about Mr. Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Give me a hell yeah. I said give me a hell yeah.
God damn, you gotta love that era. Woo, love the Attitude Era. Anyway, Stone Cold Steve Austin might be in line for a match at WrestleMania. Holy shit, WWE is getting desperate. I saw this, I said, holy shit. So Stone Cold Steve Austin might be making probably one of the biggest comebacks ever. And they might be planning it for WrestleMania in Texas because they're in Texas. I think they're in Jerry's World, if I'm not mistaken. And WWE, they're having a rough time selling tickets. I think they got about 40,000 for 2 nights. Don't know. I think they're looking for 80,000. Obviously, 2 nights, 40 and 40. But right now, they're trying to pull a rabbit out of a hat. And with all the shit going on with Cody, if they could get him to commit and sign over there, even if he's a surprise, and then they have Stone Cold, like, WrestleMania could possibly be really big. You know, WrestleMania is the spectacle. It is the the creme de la creme. The Tokyo Dome at its peak, probably a distant number 2, but WrestleMania is it. Like, if you could go to WrestleMania, we'll say what you want about WWE. WrestleMania is still the biggest wrestling show, period, in wrestling. Like I said, Tokyo Dome, distant number 2, but I mean at its peak, not right now when you can't even fill up the building. But Stone Cold coming back that's big money right there. That's big balling right there. So Dave Meltzer discussed possibly on the Latest Wrestling Observer Radio whether Austin comes back or not, or if he goes against Kevin Owens, which looks like the plan. So, and I quote, "Well, I suppose it depends on how he, Steve Austin, physically feels after doing the one shot. The thing is, he's got to be able to avoid injury at that age doing it. I could see him doing Mania and the next Saudi show, but they have a lot of stadium shows coming up. He would also be diminishing returns. The thing with Austin, which is one of the reasons that he never came back, was because Austin had a pretty high view of his own wrestling, and I don't think he wanted to come back as, a diminished wrestler. I don't know. I just heard that he's going to be at Mania. I could see him, perhaps being a regular in some form in a non-wrestling fashion. I could see that, and maybe wrestle every now and then. I don't know. There's a lot of money in wrestling right now, and maybe he saw a kind of deal with Edge where you can come do 3 matches and just get an incredible amount of money. Maybe he's going to do that. I don't know. Now, they have reached out to Austin, and remember, Austin had a pretty bad neck injury from a power driver with power driver by Owen Hart back in the 90s. Rest in peace to Owen Hart. And after that, he kind of was never the same. Like, it kind of took him out at his peak Austin. He missed a long time. Then he came back, and he had to change his whole style up. He was in shape, and even when he fought The Rock in his last match, like, he fought The Rock and retired, and he has never looked back. Like, he definitely never came back. He comes back, he does a stunner. He comes back, he flips the bird, does a stunner, drinks some Steve Weisers, and he's back out the door. So he's always done I saw him in the Garden, and he stunned the hell out of Shane McMahon. That was funny as hell. So I understand WWE is, this screams desperation. I'm not even going to lie. But I understand if they want him to come back and do a match, Kevin Owens is a great opponent, because Kevin Owens is gonna he can take a bump, and he's gonna bump like a mug. He's gonna bump like a mug for Steve. But Steve, like I said, the neck thing is what really worries me about this, because it's one thing. I remember there was talks about him coming back about 10 years ago to fight Punk right before Punk left wrestling. Might have been maybe a year or two, the summer of Punk before he left. I think Steve is 57 now. So that was when he was 47. So I think it was about 10 years ago. Don't quote me. But even back then, that would have been great. It would have been great. Let them go out there for about 10 to 12 minutes. It's going to be a fight. It's going to be a brawl. It's not going to be a match. It's going to be a brawl. I'm sure they could put together something great. Punk's mind, Austin's mind. They know he knows his limitations. Punk was on top of his game back then. They could tell a great story. Crazy couple stunners, maybe a GTS. And who cares who wins? Maybe Austin wins. But now he's 57, if I'm not mistaken. Let me look it up real quick. In fact, let's get it on point. How old is Stone Cold? He is, he's 57. I was right. He's 57 now. 10 years ago, I would have said, I could see it. Come in, get a couple mil, maybe get a mil, maybe get a couple mil, big fat check, get one of those big fat checks. That would be great. But now, at 57, he already has it. Like, once you got a bad neck, you got a bad neck. You never have a good neck. But that doesn't mean he doesn't, like, his cardio, where's his cardio at? Where's, he's got to, like, physically get himself right. And if he hasn't been already training to get right, at 57, you're not just going to come in there and get your cardio right. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. Like, you think Goldberg just comes out there and he's on point? No, Goldberg has to train and get right and get ready for one match. Undertaker, if you saw his documentary, you know Undertaker has to train. Well, when he was doing the one match a year thing, train and train and train. He'd start training around fucking September. He'd start training because he knows he's gonna make an appearance around the Royal Rumble time, right around WrestleMania season. February, March, he makes his appearance, WrestleMania match, and he's been training since September, so he already got 4, 5, 6 months of training in just for that one match. And he did that for like 4 or 5 years in a row. So, and then after that, he'd take a break till about June, July. Vince would call him, hey, we might be looking to doing this. I'm gonna need you, pal. The next thing you know, September comes around. All right, let me get off the couch and start training. Yeah, pal, set in stone. Around Rumble time, we're going to need you to make an appearance. Okay? So by then, he's already started training and training and training. WrestleMania comes around, one match, kills it, goes away. Next thing next year, summertime, hey, pal. Like, it's a constant thing. So for Austin to want to come back, or for them to call Austin, first of all, screams desperation. Second of all, I would love to see Austin back, but I'm not gonna lie, as a fan who grew up on Stone Cold and The Rock and Triple H and all those guys in the Attitude Era, Shawn Michaels, Undertaker, I don't want to see this man get hurt in the ring, because he had a terrible neck injury. He had fusions. He had a fusion surgery. You know, the thing with Edge is that's Edge, and well, Bryan had concussion issues. That's different. But with Edge, his neck, I remember in an interview, he said his neck was hanging on by a thread. He said something along the lines of that. Like, yeah, my neck, well, like one bad bump, it was a wrap. Paralyzation. It's over. So it's like, oh, man, I want to see him back, but I don't want to see him get hurt. So Stone Cold knows what he can do. Being that he has that brawler style, he's going to bring that shit back. I'm pretty sure he could kill it. So I respect it.
Respect my authority!
I respect it, hands down. But if Stone Cold comes back, put him in a real quick match, 10 minutes or less. Hopefully he could get his cardio up, because you know he's drinking beer. You know he's drinking a beer. I'd love to have a beer with Stone Cold. That'd be awesome. You know he's drinking beer, so Stone Cold got to get that cardio up, get a 10-minute match in, a couple stunners, give me a hell yeah, and we out of here. Like, cha-ching, give me my check and I'm gone. So, shout out to Stone Cold. Matter of fact, let's hit that one more time. Let's hit that one more time for old time's sake. Shout out to Stone Cold, man.
Give me a hell yeah. I said give me a hell yeah.
Oh, man. Stone Cold had them crowds popping back then. Oh, Monday Night Raw was... Oh, get chills listening to that. Monday Night Raw back then... Holy shit. Oh, man. Shout out to Michael Ruder. Shout out to Gil. Shout out to the Beacon crew. He used to fucking run back to go watch Monday Night Raw and talk about it the next day in school. Oh, man. Those are the fucking days. Those are the fucking days. All right. More news on Cody. Let's talk about Cody. So, as you all know, Cody has left AEW, and the thing I will say is I do think that Cody leaving is way deeper than even we think it is. I think Cody, I don't think it's money, even though, yes, WWE can drop a very big bag. There are so many different reports and so many different outlets talking about this, all the wrestling outlets, Observer, PW Torch, Wade Keller, fucking Brian Alvarez, like everybody, Sauron, Sad, Fightful Select, everybody talk about it. So we don't know what's right and what's wrong. We don't know what's fact and what's fiction. We don't know because we're not Cody and we're not Brandy. So, but what we do know is he's been in talks with WWE. His contract was over December 31st. He was on the handshake deal with Tony, with TK. And I believe strongly that he wanted to be paid a little more. And maybe a lot more, who knows. He wanted to be on that big level, big money contract. like Brock Lesnar, like CM Punk, and they just Tony Khan. Reports are these are the reports now that Tony Khan looked at the budget and was like, "Listen, we're not going to give you that." So it's even reported that they had lawyers had to come in and interfere and interject about how Cody could be let go from the company properly because he's also an EVP on top of being a talent. So there's a shitload of stuff going on here, and the fact that Cody sees himself at a certain place and he wanted to get paid accordingly, and Tony Khan with all the new people coming in, he probably just it didn't work out. It just didn't work out. And Cody was like, listen, if I'm going to be a top guy here, I need to get paid like a top guy. Whatever happened behind the scenes with the money, he was like,
Nope.
So Cody was like,
Nope.
I'm out. Cody was like,
Get the fuck out of here!
he's like, I'm out of here. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know what Cody does. If Cody wants to be number one and he goes to WWE, he's not going to be number one there. First of all, he's not going to have the creative freedom that he has with AEW. That shit ain't happening.
Stop the cap.
Second of all, he might get paid handsomely, but he's not going to go in there and be top guy, Mr. Bigwig, like a Roman or a Brock. If he is, it's going to be short-lived, and then he's out of there.
Stop the cap.
Third of all, they don't want Cody because they appreciate what he can do in the ring, and they appreciate his vision, and they appreciate his storytelling. All A1. All A1. Let's not disrespect Cody at all.
Respect my authority!
They only want Cody just to say, ooh, look at what we did to AEW. We pulled one of their EVPs. We pulled one of the founding fathers of AEW. Come join us, WWE. Like,
Gotcha, bitch.
he's going to walk up and that's what they're going to say. Gotcha, bitch. Like, that's it. It has nothing to do with how great he is. So, I don't know, man. If he goes there, I'm just like... What does he do? Because he might very well walk in there and it might very be a problem.
It was at this moment that he knew. He fucked up.
And then it's over. We're going to have Cody and Matt Cat Moss feuding over dumb shit. So...
Fuck this shit, I'm out.
Released after 8 months. Now listen, I don't think that's going to happen because they're not going to go in and pay Cody all that money just to release him. They know he's a founding father of AEW. I think they know he has more value than that. Cody knows his value, and Cody knows he can probably get more with Well, obviously he knows he can get more with WWE, but will the ends justify the means? You have creative freedom. You have the opportunity to tell fantastic stories with all the new people coming in, and you could go left and go right. TK will hear you. He will hear you, listen to what you have to say, and actually implement it if he thinks it's makes sense. Opposed to Vince, who's gonna hear you and say, "Fuck that, do what I want anyway." So it kind of might backfire. It might just backfire on you. So this is a tough situation, man, because if he goes to WWE, he's got a good 6 months before. I think good 6 months, they'll build him up. They'll do crazy things with him. I think they'll have him fighting. He has a lot of good people he could fight. Drew McIntyre, Brock, Roman. Who else do I want to see him fight? Randy Orton again. They could tell a great story with him and Randy Orton. This student has now become the teacher. Like, they have great stories they could tell. Don't get it twisted. He could fight Edge. They have great stories they can tell. Make no mistake. There are great stories that they can tell. But will they tell them? Will they use Cody properly? Will he cut a promo from the heart, or will he have to cut a promo with somebody handing him a stupid-ass script like Cody doesn't know how to tell a promo? And it ain't even about cursing, because Cody doesn't need to curse. Cody is a fiery babyface The audience will cheer him. He will be the biggest babyface in the company if he walks up in there. He will be the biggest, because you think the WWE people, the fan base of WWE knows who Cody Rhodes is. The fan base knows that he was one of the founding members of AEW. Even the casual fans know that. Because I know casual fans that talk to me about wrestling, and even they know that. They know about AEW. They know about Jericho. They know about Cody. And most of them know about Kenny Omega. And everybody else now, they're starting to learn. They like Darby and MJF. He talks a lot of shit, blah, 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 blah. So, he'll be the biggest babyface in the company, but I don't trust WWE to do the right thing. I don't trust them. Even Daniel Bryan, a couple years ago, he was like, well, you know, we had a long-term story planned, but do you trust WWE to tell a long-term story like that? Even he said it like 3, 4, 5 years ago, and he was with the company. So I don't know. I just hope they don't make Cody look
Stupid.
and I just hope he does well with whatever he decides to do. If he decides to go to WWE, I just want Cody to do well. That's it. I just want him to be okay. And if he does go to WWE, don't fuck him up, use him properly, and let him go out there and kill it like we know that he can. That's my hope. So we'll see what happens. So, enough about Cody. Let's talk about NXT 2.0. They put on a hell of a show. We're going to run through this quick. It was a good show. I would advise everybody, every wrestling fan, go watch NXT 2.0 Vengeance Day. It was good. It was the best. It wasn't takeover level. We ain't going to go that far. But it was the best NXT 2.0 show that they have put on. Period. Special show, regular TV show, best one by far.
Surprise, motherfucker.
They had a good card. So let's talk about this. We had a weaponized steel cage match. Pete Dunne versus Tony D'Angelo. This was one hell of a match. This was basically grab a weapon and beat your opponent's ass with it. A lot of near falls in this match. The end came where Tony D'Angelo grabbed a crowbar while Pete Dunne grabbed the crowbar. This is the end of the match. Tony tried to hit Pete, but Pete ducked and hit Tony in the ribs. Then he whack-a-moled him over the head with the crowbar, hit him with the bitter end, and that was all she wrote. Pete Dunne gets the win. Pete Dunne then had a cameo segment backstage with Carmelo Hayes. So that is going to be Carmelo Hayes' next opponent. There was a crazy spot where Tony D suplexed Pete Dunne off of the top of the cage. He was like folded over the top of the cage and he kind of suplexed him down. That was pretty cool. So, fantastic opener, very violent, good match, 2 hard hitters. Love the Bruiserweight, love Tony D'Angelo. Tony D'Angelo will be fine. He's not buried. He'll be okay. He's going to come back. I love Pete Dunne, and I hope Pete Dunne and Carmelo Hayes go out there and kill it, because those guys are great. Next, we had NXT Women's Championship, NXT Tag Team Championships on the line. Toxic Attraction versus Indy Hartwell and Perota. This was probably the best Toxic Attraction match and the best Perota and Indy match I've seen. So to them,
Perfect.
but I'm not gonna lie, watching this,
Surprise, motherfucker.
didn't think it was gonna be good, but it was. This was very good. This was good. I was thoroughly impressed with this. So, the end came when Perota got high tag, went on the tear, laid out Toxic Attraction, hit a Samoan drop. Jane sent Perota hard into the steel steps and then tripped Indy Hartwell before she could hit the diving elbow. She was about to do the springboard diving elbow. Toxic Attraction ended up getting the upper hand and hit the high-low, big boot, and leg sweep high-low for the win. After the match backstage, Hartwell walked off with Dexter Lumis while Duke Hudson took Perota's hand, leading her away behind Indy's back. So Duke Hudson and Perota are going to be a thing. What's up with WWE and all of these love stories? They love their love stories. It's like every time something goes on, there's a fucking love story involved. So this, like I said, this was a good match. Go back and watch this one. These ladies, you could tell they're working hard behind the scenes because this match was good. I mean, it wasn't a 5-star classic, but it was good. It looked on point. They were doing things right. Shout out to them. Raquel Gonzalez, before the match, she had a thing with Cora Jade. Excuse me, where she called Cora Jade at 5 in the morning to do a physical workout. She said, "Listen, chica, get up, mi amor. It's 5 o'clock. Let's go work." Me personally, I would have been like,
Get the fuck out of here!
and hung up the phone on her ass. But nah, I do my workouts at 5 too, so that makes sense. But she said, "Listen, these ladies, we got to win 3 straight matches. These ladies are gonna come with it. You got to come with it. Let's work out." They did some running. They did some carry your partner training, push-ups, sit-ups, whole bunch of stuff. That was good. So they're going to be working out at 5 o'clock every day, getting ready for the Tag Team Dusty Tag Team Classic. Good for them. Next, we had L.A. Knight. Yeah. We had L.A. Knight come out with Grayson Waller. Grayson Waller came out with the fakest bunch of cops I've ever seen in my life.
You stupid.
And he came out with those fake-ass cops. And then he said, "You violated a restraining order. Arrest him." As they were going to arrest him, Mr. L.A. Knight said, "Well, I violated a restraining order. You violated the restraining order." And he showed them a video of them attacking him, of Grayson Waller attacking him with the rollout stunner. And the cop said, "You know what? He's right. You don't have any you don't have any merit here." And then LA Knight proceeded to whoop his ass and said,
Just bring it, bitch!
So he beat his ass, and that was all she wrote. And said next week he's going to stomp a mud hole in his ass. So that was cool. We also had Nikita Lyons talked about her history of fighting. She had a little nunchuck vignette where she was doing stuff. This lady looks big. She's got some big assets. She is physically appealing. I was like, "Who's this chick?" So this chick looks like a real thick, solid chick, probably tall. Good for her. So she'll be debuting next week. Next, we had Carmelo Hayes versus Cameron Grimes to the moon. NXT North American Championship. This was the best thing on the show for me. Carmelo Hayes, excellent workhorse. Cameron Grimes, y'all know how I feel about Cameron Grimes. I love that guy. He's awesome. I think that guy is. That's just me. You know, he's money. To the moon. So they had themselves a good old-fashioned match. There was some trick shenanigans in this match, unfortunately. And Melo got the win. The end came when Cameron Grimes caught Trick with the cave-in on the outside, but Trick still got involved. Melo had Cameron Grimes in the crossface, but he tried to go grab the rope, force the rope break, but Trick was holding the rope backwards so that he couldn't grab the rope. Afterwards, he let go. He strung him over, I think he strung him over the top rope. He did a move. Then he pulled his hair back, jumped up to the top rope, and hit his top rope leg drop for the W. This was a fantastic match. It got the time. They told a great story. Cameron Grimes is great. He's not buried. He'll be back. Relax. Tranquilo. But I absolutely love this match. This match was fucking fantastic. Next, we had the Dusty Tag Team Classic Finals, MSK versus the Creed Brothers. This was just a good old-fashioned. This was a Creed Brothers, big dominant guys versus MSK, those little mice that you just gotta catch and stomp. This was great. The end came when Carter and Lee worked together for a combination double foot stomp, but it got broken. They hit Brutus with it, but it got broken up. Julius caught Carter diving and slammed him into the floor. And that was on the outside. And I forgot the other. Nash ended up getting hit with the running low clothesline, and they won. So the Creed Brothers are your new Dusty Tag Team Classic Finals winners. After that, Imperium They warned the Creed brothers that they are not ready for the NXT Tag Team Champions. And Walter.
Stop the cap.
Fuck this shit, I'm out.
Walter came out and said, I am the ring general. You are not ready for Imperium. And Solo Sika interrupted Walter and said, listen, you know what we used to do back on the island? We used to find the biggest, the baddest, and smack the shit out of them. That's what I'm about to do to you. Oh, man, shout out to him. Shout out to that guy. I was like, oh, shit. Shots fired. So, shout out to Solo Sika. Good to see this brother getting a high-profile match. Do I think he should be beating Walter? No, I don't. But I think they need to go kill each other and beat the shit out of each other. Two big dudes doing what two big dudes do. The Ring General versus Mr. Oos. That's gonna be a good one. You don't mess with them damn Samoans, man. Samoans, big brothers right there. They kick your ass. Better know how to fight. So that was great. Then we had the main event, NXT Championship match, Mr. Braun Breaker versus Santos Escobar with Legado del Fantasma. This was a solid match. Braun Breaker, he's getting better. He's in there with the perfect opponent. Santos Escobar is so smooth, so crispy in the ring. He's so good. He's great. And he made Braun Breaker look good. Braun Breaker made himself look good. This was a good match. No bullshit. So the end came where on the outside, he used the steel on the outside to throw Braun Breaker into all the steel stuff, making him hurt. Braun Breaker then began to make a comeback. Legado del Fantasma got involved, and in the middle of all of this chaos going on, Dolph Ziggler jumped out of the crowd, super kicked Braun Breaker. Mr. Escobar went for the pinfall, but he got a 2 count. Dolph Ziggler was going around, going crazy. Oh my God, he kicked out. And then Ciampa came and beat the holy hell out of Dolph Ziggler. Stupid. Beat his ass to the back. Escobar hit a spinning DDT. Went for the, shout out to Eddie. Went for the frog splash. But Braun, he missed it. Braun Breaker speared the shit out of him and then hit him with the military press catch slam for the win. So, this was a good main event. It was solid. This was a good show. It was solid. I would advise everybody, you're a wrestling fan, go back and watch this one. This one was A1. So, with that being said, that's all I got for you guys today. Oh, yeah. That's all I got for you guys today. What a hell of a wrestling week. What a hell of a wrestling news week. So much going on. It's only going to get crazier in the next couple of weeks and the next couple of months. So, come right here to What the Wrestling, and I will provide you with all the news you need, with all the backstage stuff that's going on, with all the wrestling tea, if you will. And with that being said, I am out of here. Follow me on my socials. Check them out on the screen. And I am out. Peace.